Good morning, everybody, and happy 2024. We got obviously our mastermind members, and we actually have some guests here. So, good morning, everyone. And we're going to be streaming live today inside the Hyperlocal Agent group because I think this is, that important. Yes, I'm just going to put it this way. 2024, and I'm going to talk about my personal geographic farming plan. So hopefully, let me make this a little bigger. Hopefully it'll help you. We're going to talk a whole ton about the actual things I'm planning to do, how I set up my year, and then it's a matter of taking actions and executing. And that I think is, where a lot of agents stop because they start and then it's like, oh, now I'm behind. And the feeling of behind is, it's real. I'm feeling it right now. I've been feeling it for the last couple of weeks. It's not a feeling that is new, but the biggest thing is, what are you going to do about it, right? I know the mastermind group over here is saying the struggle is real. Absolutely. Like, it is what it is. We're all dealing with the same stuff. The difference between somebody succeeding and somebody not succeeding is action. That's the only thing that makes a difference. And I'm hoping that when you actually see some of these things that I go through, I just execute on it after this. Let me know who's already done business planning, because I can tell you I started business planning. Is it like 100% done? And I'm like, yes, this is my plan. No. I've had Christmas with my family. I've been busy with other things and life happens, So is it perfect? No. But it doesn't stop me from starting to take the first step to get things done. So this one here is my business plan, okay? And I'm going to talk a whole ton about this one with you today. So it's really a glimpse into my business. I'm a solo agent for my geographic farm. So all the numbers I talk about, and I think it's good to know because so many of us do what we do solo. And I know we all get intimidated by crazy, numbers that are out there. I know it's the highlight reel, right? Everybody just started posting their numbers and look at how much I did for the year. And some of you were just like, man, I am just glad I made it through the year, right? And regardless of where you are in this whole journey, like, it's okay, right? You don't owe anybody your numbers. Um, but anyhow, so we're gonna do a whole bunch of whiteboard stuff. There's no slides really. I'm gonna literally show you behind the scenes of everything I do. I got a couple like examples that we're gonna talk about just so you see what I, refer to as a postcard, what I can refer to as a micro campaign. So we're gonna talk a lot about micro campaigns today too. But first and foremost, I want to show you how I set up my my year. When I look at it, and this one here is actually what I use. It's literally in there. It is the business planning from the Hyperlocal Agent. If you have not done business planning and you want access, let me know. We'll get you free access to it. And it literally takes about 20 minutes a day. If you don't want to take 20 minutes a day and you just want to get it all done in an hour, totally possible. Um, but it drips out and it gives you like a simple task for the day. Like it's going to give you a task like, hey, here's your vision, right? Your personal goal, your business goals. As much as I love business planning, I started this business to fit around my personal life. And when I started, I noticed that a lot of my business was starting to take over my personal life and the boundaries were starting to get blurry. And I'm like, if I don't make plans on my personal life, my business will make plans for me and they're not going to include my personal life. Okay. So there's that realization that came along the way because when you do real estate, everybody wants a piece of you, it seems like. And if you're not protecting your own time and your own agenda, somebody else will just, take it. So that one was part one that we went through. And then it was time for me to review my year. Okay. So I went in our MLS and I broke down, okay, what, happened. It's not a huge surprise that I have a ton of business in my geographic farm in my business plan. 76% of my own personal business came from my geo farm. Okay. The reason I give you that in a percentage is because I'm looking to remove transaction count. I'm looking to remove how many millions there are. Okay, for some of you, an average price point is 1.3 million. I need to sell a lot of houses for that. Okay, so I'm trying to take the percentages to just really level the playing field. Okay, so if you see posts, for example, out there saying like, hey, I ended the year with 43 million, for example, right? Look at it from like percentages. Like what is it that actually matters? And it's maybe not the millions, whatever not, but hey, what's your highest lead gen pillar? How much of this business does that account for? Like ask the right questions. I think you always get better answers when you ask the right questions. Okay. So it doesn't matter how many transactions really, doesn't matter how many millions in real estate you sold. Try to focus on the number that you can compare yourself to if you are into comparing, because a lot of you guys are into comparing, and it's hard to change nature. So if you are into comparing, compare even field numbers. Okay, I'm not going to compare myself to my California people because your prices out there are mostly crazy. Not all of you guys, but mostly crazy. Okay, so I've had 18, 19, 20, 22 transactions in my geographic farm. Okay, I'm going to give you the transaction number just so you know it. And if you look at the farm, that's 76% of my business. Okay, this is going to become a pillar for me, obviously, which is why we're talking about my geographic farming plan for 2024. We'll talk about numbers in there so you can go through that. But one of the things I really want to talk about is this little thing here. This is what I do to set up my year. Okay, it is just a calendar, simple calendar, January through December. And we're going to talk about what I do. And I want you to think about it inside of your farms. What does this look like for you? Okay. Best thing I thought we would do on it is do a whiteboard share. So you get to enjoy a lot of my scribbles. And hopefully the scribbles are fairly even. Maybe, hopefully, we'll see. I figured we're just gonna lay it out in a year. Maybe I should have used Canva. Oh, well, imperfect action, right? Oh, look, there's a box. Maybe we'll start with a box. Maybe we can actually make it pretty after all. All right, let's see. Let's do 3. Starting to look like a calendar? Okay, and feel free to grab a piece of paper and then lay out your phone, obviously, because if you're looking to be here, I want you to take something away from it. And it's probably a whole bunch quicker if you show it on a pen and paper. Looking like a calendar? Yes? Okay. Who would have thought that those paint lessons on Microsoft, from way back when would ever pay off? Okay, so January through December. January. And then when I start, I'll take you through the process. Oops. Sorry, we got people coming in. March. April. May, June. July. All right, I see the heads down in the mastermind. Wonderful. And again, if you have the business plan, it's in there. So knock your socks off to find that page. And if you don't have it, just drop me that one in there. All right, so when I look at this one, I want to see what are the things that I do. And when I start planning out my year, the first thing that I always look at are what are my events, okay? And when I say what are my events, is I started with one event inside my geographic farm for the reason that I wanted to connect with people in person. You need that in-person connection with people because it builds trust. Being face to face builds trust. okay? Having a real person in front of you is something that so many of us are like, oh, I just use AI, I just do this. It's like, I get it. And it's great for the top of the funnel and everything, but eventually you're talking about people's lives, people's relationships. Sometimes you have a spouse tell you, you know what, I'm getting a divorce. This is trust conversations that we're dealing with. And face-to-face is some of that, that you need to do. So I don't do one-on-one appointments. I kind of have a rule that I don't do any one-on-one appointments other than my family, my buyers, and my sellers. That's it. I don't have one-on-one coaching clients, and I don't do coffee dates. I don't do really any lunches. It's not part of my business. And really simple reason for it is just simply a time constraints, right? I'm like, when you have so much on your plate in general with life and then real estate business, and obviously I do own the hyperlocal agent, like eventually you're going to become really smart about the time you want to spend. And for me, I needed to figure out a way, how can I do face-to-face, but at scale? So what came out of this, let's see, I wonder if I can zoom out or something more. Maybe move, no. Let's see. Now I took all that space, okay. Oh, well, I'll show you that in a second, why events is my first thing I think about. But if I look at the event, I have personally an event that I started early on in my farm, which is my neighborhood garage sale. Okay. Anybody doing a neighborhood garage sale? Got a hand down. April.
Tasha.
Tasha, that's, oh, there you are. Yeah. So I'll tell you the reason why I'm a big fan of garage sales. It's just one of those things where when you understand why the people are selling and who the people are that are selling, you start to understand some of their mentality, right? Some of their mentality is, I've paid a lot of money for that. Why would I donate it if I can make some money? Okay. Really think about sometimes, why are the people doing what they're doing? So a garage sale, in my case, is one of my first events that I do. So my garage sale is in June. It's the second weekend of June. Okay, so this one here is my first event that I for sure know is going to go on here. And this is when, like, where I started out with my farm. So after this one, fast forward to the next year, I now end up with an event in the next quarter. Okay, so this one is my second quarter, my Q2 event. Let's see if I can put it in there. Okay, so this one is my Q2 event that started really me on the path, and where I was like, okay, events aren't that scary. Who in here thinks that events might be a little scary? Right? There's a lot of us out there who are thinking, oh my gosh, they're overwhelming. There's a lot to do. It depends on the type of event you're choosing. We've done last year, and I think I'm going to bring it back this year. We've done last year an entire event summit on 60 plus neighborhood events. Believe me, you can find an event that's not scary. I'm going to show you today all these super easy, non-scary events, in my opinion, either because they are low cost or because you don't have to worry about a whole bunch of, other things like venues and setup and all of that good stuff, right? So let's, and I'll go through the questions in a minute. I know there's a couple in the chat, but after this one, there is another event that is kind of like September, October. So, I call it my Q3 event. And that is for the fire station. So backtrack, I don't know, 8 years, 7, 8 years, something like that. I went to our local fire station and I asked them, hey, I know the fire station down the street in the city over does a fire station open house. If that is something that you guys are willing to do, I would love to contribute and get the community out to, just have them meet a firefighter, see what the life is like of a firefighter, you guys connecting with the community. And obviously with firefighters, they're doing what? Protecting a home, right? When you have a fire at the house, the last thing you want is your little ones to be hiding from a firefighter in full mask, looking like Darth Vader. Okay. So again, I'm just giving you some of these reasons why I decided to, see if that was a thing. And the town over had called it a fire station open house. And the open house part probably is what gravitated me towards it. And I'm like, an open house at the fire station. I'm like, I'm a real estate agent. I do open houses. I'm like, this is a great idea. And the community benefit in it was like massive. So that ended up being my personal Q3 event. So that's just a little bit of a backstory of how it came about. And every year since, I volunteer my time there. So is it my event? No. Am I telling the community about a community event that my village puts on that I will be part of? Yes. So you see there's like the second event already, and it's not scary. You're just volunteering. How many of you have an event in your geographic farm or in your, in your area where you're like, hey, my village does this, and they also have tables available. They're doing the traffic, they're doing the advertisement, they're doing all the big stuff that you don't have to. And if you end up piggybacking off of an event like that, you can get exposure. Okay, so if you find something where you're like, oh my gosh, it aligns with my values, I love this event, look into this, see if there is sponsorship opportunities. Okay, talking about something like that can be really, really helpful to not only obviously meet people inside your community, but also to support your town in general and bring awareness to something that is important to you. Okay, so October is the fire station open house on my end. Okay, so fire station open house. So this one here, yes, it's Q4, I know. But that's just how it lays out. Okay, so that's my Q3 event really. Then the next thing that I ended up adding, and I didn't add all of this in the first year, I built up to this. Okay, so for those of you saying like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can do all of this, I've been like the slow person, and now I systematized it, and you are just literally getting the fast pass. This took me years to really figure out, so I hope you get the value out of, seeing how all of this comes together. The next one I decided to do, fast forward, right? I'm like, okay, cool. I got 2 events, right? I'm getting things systematized, things are rolling. The next one that I did was pictures with the Easter Bunny. Okay, so this one was where I'm like, okay, I can do an event, and why not pictures with the Easter Bunny? Because it lines up. Hey, there's a holiday, so it doesn't move. It is, right? It just is on the calendar, which is one of the really cool things about it. But then any type of picture events are typically very low cost and very easy to do. So my Q1 event is pictures with the Easter Bunny. And yours truly now officially owns an Amazon Easter Bunny costume. Yes. So the things we do as real estate agent. Never ever did I get a license thinking I'm going to own an Easter Bunny costume, because who would have thought? So, but that ends up being my Q1 picture event that came about. Okay. And then the latest event that we added was a letter to Santa. So we just did it last year again. So we added it in 2022. Who in here has done a letter to Santa event? I know there was a couple. Okay, got a couple of hands up. So that ended up being my Q4. Letters to Santa. Okay. Yep. And then you see now oh well, let's see. It's like spilling over. The perfectionist in me is like, okay. Anyhow, we're going outside the box today. We're going rogue. Letters to Santa was my Q4 event that I had on my farm. I've seen a ton of letter to Santa events, by the way, and I will tell you what I see most agents make as a common mistake on this one. They offer it to everybody. Okay. When you offer a letter to Santa event to everybody, you have no follow-up control, right? Everybody, meaning if you offer it to your entire town of 100,000 people because you posted it in that Facebook group, you might, I mean, the point of the Letter to Santa campaign is, yes, to, be part of somebody's household, but without a follow-up in place, most everything we do doesn't really go anywhere, right? I mean, talking to somebody once doesn't mean you're going to end up building a relationship, listing a house, or helping them buy something. Most often, people need to be exposed to you over and over and over and over. So the Letter to Santa campaign, again, for us, went into our geographic farm. And that is where I also know I have follow-up in place because I will be mailing to them, okay? So that is then the second part that we talk about. So I have my events laid out, 4 events as of right now. I didn't start there, but I, went up to do it. And all of these are annual events, okay? So why are they annual? The big reason why they're annual is because I want to continue to build the relationship. If they came to Pictures with the Easter Bunny last year, I want to ask them again, hey, do you want to come again? And this is how the events grew, okay? My garage sale, this is how my garage sale went from 10 people to 180 people participating, okay? Because I always went back and I said, hey, you participated in years prior, do you want to participate again? And by continuing to do that over and over and over, people are going to come to expect it. So I have sellers reaching out to me, typically starting somewhere in like February or March. Hey, are you doing a garage sale again? Literally just reaching out. They're like, awesome, because we're thinking about selling our house. Okay. So really look and see what the progression is with some of that stuff. So events are all set. Anybody got questions on the first part for events? And all of these are very like non-frightening events. Letters to Santa, I literally just put, a mailbox inside the neighborhood. I don't even have to face anybody, but the feelings that come out of it is really what we're going for. This one is a piggyback off something else event, so easy to do. This one I've systematized over the years, so now it's fairly easy one to just get up and running. Is it work? Absolutely. Is it, worth it? 100%. And then we have the Pictures with the Easter Bunny, which I used to have it at a park outside with 0 overhead, essentially. But weather being weather, I'm in Illinois. Sometimes you have all of a sudden 5 inches of snow on the ground in March or April or still in May, who knows? But one of those things that I decided to do just for my own personal peace of mind was to rent out a park district room. And I said, hey, if you want to do it, we're going to do it inside, which gave me a peace of mind that I didn't have to call a rain date. I didn't have to notify everybody. And that's moving forward what we've just been doing. Okay. So I'm going to go through the questions.
Janine, sorry, my voice is a little bit raspy right now. This is Patricia. So I did send a message just a second ago. So I know I did the Thanksgiving pie one, and I was just curious because I know when we talked about it previously, you don't do Thanksgiving pies. So I'm just trying to understand like your mindset behind why not, and
Okay.
if it's too much to do with Letters to Santa following up right after that.
Yeah, you're gonna love that. If you ever talk to me about my thing about Thanksgiving pies and why I don't do them, there's an agent that I collaborate with on farming every now and then, and he's extremely successful with them. I don't want to get eaten. Like, this is the thing behind Thanksgiving pies. It sounds so bizarre, but if you put a pie on somebody's table, the conversation is not, where did you get the pie from? The conversation is always centered around other things. So I have this thing where I don't want to get eaten. Instead, what I want to do is I want to be part of the experience. Okay. So I will show you what we've done last year for Thanksgiving, which was a little short notice, but it was so much fun. Let me see if I can pull up my Canva. I'll get a new screen share going. Because I'm not saying I wouldn't do Thanksgiving. I just don't do pies. Like, that's my thing. I also don't do Popeyes. And oftentimes it's related to the cost factor when I look at it. Pies aren't cheap. Seeing people, like I've got a team in my brokerage, they end up buying like 600 pies or something like that. I mean, it's, well, and then there's a negative Costco article for real estate agents are buying up all the pie. No, just kidding, just kidding. That's just my personal mentality behind it. I don't do pies. I don't want to be eaten. But I want to be part of the experience. So last year we did a little game. Let's see, there is let me get you the version that's not on its head. Might be easier, otherwise you'll, you know, get a neck cramp like this. So let's see, Thanksgiving there. Okay. So this one here, maybe you've seen it, but this is one of the things that we printed last year. It was a thankful dice game, okay? Now between the pie, and you can attach it to a pie, Patricia. So like I said, don't go away from the pies if you love the pies. Just driving around pies is one of the things I wouldn't recommend, because when people are delivered something, it's less valuable than if they actually come to you to pick it up, okay? So that's just one of those things. And you don't have to agree with all of the things I say. I'm just telling you what I personally think behind it. If like my attorney was to deliver things to me, I mean, it's nice, right? Convenience, but people typically go to the dentist and to the attorney and to all these professional places to get something. And there is just much more of a value perceived with it. Okay. But this one here was like a Thanksgiving thing that we shared with people inside the mailer clinic, and they were able to then just, you know, print it, give it to their clients. There was a little card attached to it, right? It says, hey, here's how to play. At the dinner table, each person takes a turn to roll the dice, answer the coordinating statement on the list. I hope you enjoy and make special memories. That is what I want to do. I don't want them to shovel their face with pie while they're talking about the football game. Okay. I want them to actually say like, oh my gosh, this was so cute. Where did you get it? So hopefully that was helpful.
Janine, can you talk a little bit about your yard sale? Like, what message?
Okay, so we do have the master class on it. If you go into the mastermind, you have mastermind access. You can look at the garage sale, and I broke everything down. Sound good?
Jenny, as far as the pies, again, Patricia, sorry again for the raspy voice, but the one thing I struggled with, because this was the first year I did it, and I did end up getting a listing out of it, which was wonderful. I would have to say it was my sphere of influence, and there are northwest, southwest suburbs and cities. So in my mind, I thought about having them come to me, but I figured, are they really going to come to me if some of them are driving a half an hour to an hour? So I split it up by, I'm doing these suburbs on these days, and then these suburbs on these days, in the city on this day.
Yeah.
So that's where I struggled with that, because I was like, how do I make it easier on myself and on them too?
See, and let's bring it back to the farming part of it. I can invite my sphere, because you're asking sphere questions, right? Questions for your sphere. If I look at my farming one, I can invite my sphere to any of these things.
And I guess I'll correct it by saying they were my past clients, which most of them are not my sphere, and they're from all over the suburbs and city.
That's right. Yeah, that's why I said, like, you know, for the pie event, I would probably just, you know, we'll have a separate conversation on that if you want, but I would probably look at like something like bunt cakes. I don't know if you've heard about the company, but you can order them little buntinis and they ship to their door. Again, different conversations, but we can talk about that one. Just want to make sure we'll stay focused on the farming and not the sphere. But when you look at these events that you're hosting inside your geographic farms, okay, you can invite your sphere to any of them. Pictures with the Easter Bunny. Hey, I'm hosting that. And yes, they have to drive, but it's up to them to decide, do I want to drive 30 minutes? For you, it's an additional touch, right? And that's the whole thing behind events. You want to get in front of as many people as possible at scale. And for these geographic farming events, you can then also invite your past clients. You can tell them, hey, we're having pictures with the Easter Bunny. Would love to see you. You can grab a free picture. And if you want me to reserve a time slot for you, just let me know. Garage sale. Hey, we have one of the garage sale that I'm part of. Not sure if you are looking to come out shopping, but if you know anybody, you know, we have so many sellers. I would love for you to spread the word and help me get as many people into the area as possible. Another connection point, right? Your event for the fire station, again, you can ask them, I mean, whatever event that you decide, but for me, I typically ask them, hey, we're having, you know, the fire station open house in Hoffman Estates. I know that, you know, little Joey loves fire trucks, so if you are nothing to do, would love to see you. Another great way to get them in front. And then the letters to Santa, if they don't want to come and drop the letter off physically, we just offer them a link and say, hey, you don't have to come physically, but you can fill out the link and we'll still send little Joey the letter from Santa that, you know, makes it. So combining this, I think, is something that so many people don't understand the importance of, because you don't need more things on your plate. Like I keep saying that over and over and over. If you keep hosting events for your farm, and then you're going to do events for your sphere, and then you're going to sell real estate, and then you're going to have a family, like it gets overwhelming. And by combining as many things as possible and doing it at scale where people are coming to you, you start getting a little bit of time back into your schedules to do what you want to do. Okay. Okay, so Patricia's question on the things, where do you hold the event for pictures? So pictures with the Easter Bunny, our park district has a room that they are able to rent out. I believe I paid $60 for the room. Prior to that, I was at a local park. Melanie's Letters to Santa event more than tripled this year. Yes, it's awesome. So she's part of the mailer clinic, and just again, recurring events have a huge, huge benefit. Okay. Let's see how to start a, oh yeah. So Delana, I'll point you in the direction for the masterclass on the garage sale. Like it's all like detailed, broken down, and I'll get that to you, okay? So you can like watch an hour, like I think it's a 90-minute training on it. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
of course. Let's see, anybody on our Facebook group had question? The letter to Santa is also inside the mastermind. It's December 2022 when we broke down how to do it, et cetera, et cetera. So that's also mastermind. Awesome. All right, moving on. So events is one of the things. Next up, we're looking at postcards, mailers, okay? And the way I go about this is I look at my events and I try to figure out what are the events that I want to use a postcard for to invite people inside my entire farm, okay? The letter to Santa, I don't send this out to my entire farm. Not everybody in my farm has, you know, kids first and foremost, so I use a different campaign, and we'll talk about that. Brought you that one, so we'll talk about this in a minute. But the ones that I do a mailer for, I want to see if we can, you know, get these on the schedule first. And that's typically my garage sale. So I send a mailer to my entire farm for the garage sale. So that is the first one. And that one goes out in May, beginning of May. I typically have a 6 to 8 week runway on those. Okay. So that is, let's see, let's call it garage sale mailer.
Janine, I know you have a second farm because you just expanded and you said you did a garage sale there as well. Were those on different days?
Yeah, so I expanded into my second farm. So my original farm is now 3,500 homes, and that's been garage sale 1. And then the second farm, I piggyback off of it, not at the same weekend because I want to be present, okay? And I cannot meet this many people in one weekend as one person. So the way I did it, I took, and that one is interesting too. So I did 2 weeks after, or 1 week. Anyhow, I delayed it. I delayed it by a week or two, still in the same month. And one of the things that I do is obviously, you know, walk around, talk to people, and listen to what they are telling you. Okay. So when I had the conversations, I've had a ton of them who were like, oh my gosh, this was amazing. Those were the people that understood the fact that they also need to provide maybe a sign or two leading people to a garage sale. Okay, so those were like the garage sale people that get what garage sales are about. The first timers, they're like, yeah, no, we put out 3 things on the driveway and nobody stopped, so it wasn't that great. It's like, yeah, I wouldn't want to stop for 3 things on the driveway either, you know? So it's just educating them. But then also, like, if you look at your traffic sources for it, for example, this one was, there is in my second farm, is like elementary schools. There's 2 elementary schools. So the suggestion from like 2 or 3 people was, you know, maybe the last weekend when school is, because then we can do it Friday, and then parents can bring their children. And I thought it was a genius, you know, recommendation. So for this year, we're looking at bringing this one earlier. So it'll be like late May, early June for that one. Listen to the people. Start somewhere, okay? And just like my little Santa here is out of the box and it's not perfect, start. That was what I started this entire thing with. You need to take the action on it, right? Will it end up being earlier than the other one? Probably. So, but now they're not at the same time anymore. Or they were never at the same time, just time constraint wise. Does that answer your question, Shauna?
Yes, thank you. Because I have 2 farms too. And so I was just wondering how I would be able to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the size, obviously, but the size that I got, it's just, it's too large. It's impossible for me. If you have a 300 and a 500 home farm, you can probably combine it. But again, for me, it was just too many because I had 182 people sign up this year. I had like 150 in one farm. Oh no, 182 in my core, and then I think I had 20 some. So I would have had over almost 200 sellers to go and visit. So too much. I wish there was more than 24 hours, but there's only 24 hours in a day, right? Okay, so next up, the only other event that I do a mailer for is the Easter Bunny. I want people to bring their kids and then also their grandkids that are living nearby. Because it's late March, we do the mailer in the same month there, so it's not too much time in between. Okay, so that's my Easter mailer. So those are the 2 event mailers I do. When I look at mailers, and I don't know how many of you guys have read my book, but I talk about, you know, how easy is it to get actually responses on a piece of mail. It's really hard to get an appointment. It is not that hard to get somebody to register or to get somebody, you know, to sign up for an event. That is easier because it serves them a purpose. And then obviously the easiest ones that I personally think is just to give them an instant home evaluation. So boot camp is coming up, by the way, in January as well. And I'll talk a whole lot more about that part. But the event mailers are, you know, a great way for them to sign up for something, to register, and for me to start building a relationship. So after I've done those, okay, those are my event specific one, and they serve a specific purpose, which we call list builders. Okay, these are list builders because when people have to register, people that register build a list, right? I sign up for something, you're now on the sign up list, and that sign up list is now something that I can use in my business. Make sense, everybody? So now I look at the other mailers that I do. There is one mailer that I've been saying I'm doing every year, and that's my calendar. Okay, so every year I send out a calendar mailer that I want everybody to have on their fridge throughout the year. It is the longest lasting piece of mail, and I've gotten calls as late as November on it. So that's the one that I sent out in December. That's the calendar mailer. All right. So we got that one on the schedule. And then I'm a number person. So when I look at what else can I send, right? We have an entire catalog. I show you the catalog in a second. But when I look and see what else can I send, I like market updates personally. I'm currently working on one, and I'll show you the one from, let me, there. This one here is a market update that I've sent Q2. So this one went out and it talks all about the sales that happened. Again, know your rules, obviously. I've had a couple people in the mailer clinic that have a non-disclosure state. But this one here is my market update report. Now I have a pretty large farm, so there's a lot of sales. If your farm is smaller, and we have that currently inside the mailer clinic with sales being down in general, okay, so it's not just you, it's everybody. With less transactions happening, there's less sales. So some of these are, you know, smaller mailers. Mine is just large since it's a big farm. But there's another one, and I'll show it to you inside the catalog in a second, that's a little smaller. But these here are Q1 through Q4 market updates that I typically try and get out, okay? So let me go back to the calendar and we'll put those into the marketing. So we got
Janine, to clarify, are you doing sales in the area in general or only the ones that you've sold?
That is the market update is everything that happened in the area.
That's what I figured. Okay.
Yeah. So obviously in January, we would do the last 90 days. Okay, so that one would be the Q4 mailer. Then April would be the Q1 2024 mailer. And we got July, right? Yes, okay. Just double checking. It's the Q2 2024 mailer. And then we got October. For the Q3. Okay, so now I got in here, let's see, 4 market updates. And then, oops, wrong color. And then we got 4 events, which is 1 per quarter. Okay. So far, so good. So those are the ones that I look at, that I just put in there, and it just systematically built on the mailers that I like to send. When I look at market updates, I personally like market updates a lot, and I'll tell you why. When you are talking to people who are thinking about selling, the thought about the selling, and you look up one of the latest NAR reports, because they pull a bunch of crazy stuff, right? It's like from the thought that you had of selling your house until actually selling your house. How long was that time frame? Any guesses from you guys here? From when somebody thinks I'm going to move until, you know, the actual event of moving?
6 months.
6 months? 2 to 3 years?
I think about a year, 18 months maybe.
12 to 18 months? 6 months? So according to like the NAR report, they had it at about 24 months. So about 2 years. From, you know, rolling out of bed one morning thinking, oh, I'm going to sell my house, to actually like doing it, 24 months. Okay, which is like crazy. But if you know, like, this is typically how long it might take, in the first month or 2, your thought will not be, how much can I get for my house? That thought comes a lot later oftentimes, because if you're thinking, you know what, I think in a couple of years when we really need to focus about selling, you understand that markets change. You understand that values shift, right? And And knowing that most people, they don't get into the whole numbers until they're much further down the pipeline of like, okay, we really need to figure out how much are we going to get, right? I mean, we kind of know now where we're going, what state we're going to, what we're doing here. We have our personal life lined up. After all these big dominoes, then it becomes time for people to start talking numbers. And that's why I like the market update, because it gives you the opportunity to start with the people much further down in that journey of 24 months. Does that make sense, everybody? So now that we have that, okay, well, like market updates, okay, these people are much further down and we can probably get them to respond to our mailer and hopefully get them on the market faster than somebody who just had the thought of, you know what, moving might be on the agenda soon, because we all know in real estate, soon means years oftentimes, right? So then the next thing I look at is, what is my market dynamic? Okay, I'm in a market where we're literally just waiting for snow to get dumped on. And once we get dumped on with snow, everybody goes into hibernation here, right? Knowing my market, people tend to move more towards the spring and summer. Weather, one thing, schools is another, right? My market here is a lot different from a market in Florida. So for those of you guys in Florida, if I tell you, do you have a spring market? You probably will say yes, but it's going to be completely different than, you know, what I have. In California, I've talked to a couple of people in California, and they're like, yeah, we actually talk to so many people in the winter, right? Because everybody is going over there, and while they're over there, they end up going house shopping. So again, know your market, and that's why one size typically doesn't fit all in our real estate world. But for me, I know we are typically looking at March, April, May, June for the most amount of houses to be on the market. Is that the best time to be on the market when everybody else is selling? You and I know that the best time to sell a house if there's no competition and you are the only choice, right? You're the last piece of toilet paper on the shelf. Like, you and I know that. But when we talk to sellers, trying to change their mindset about it sometimes is difficult. If you throw in a mom saying, my child is going to finish school before we ever make a move, you know, you can't argue with that. So as much as you and I know what's the better reality, people do what people think is best for them, right? So knowing what I know about my market, and that'll be different for your market, or it might be the same, but again, you know your market, okay? I personally look at mine and decide, okay, I want to load it up for the spring market. Okay, so when I say I want to load it up for the spring market, I want to look at it. I have a mailer coming out in January. There's nothing in February. I should definitely do something in February if I'm looking to front load my spring market. So personally, what I do is a St. Patty's Day mailer. Oh, wrong color. Okay. Because it's bright, it's green, and it's going to get people's attention. So that is what I do in February. And then I think that is actually it on the mail part. Now, one of the things that we've talked about, and that's partially because I do a whole ton inside the mailer clinic, and I like to test things before I give it to the people that are inside the mailer clinic. Every now and then in August, September, I typically look and see, can I do a test mailer? Meaning, like, do I send out an extra mailer for the year? But I would put it somewhere here in like August, September-ish, you know, because I typically have signs on the ground, and I don't need a whole ton of other things. So let's see how many mailers I got. I got the market updates. I got 2 of the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mailers. So right there, I've been mailing about 8 mailers a year roughly. So that is, let's see, 2 event invites. Again, those are list builders, okay? Building my list. when I say list builders, I'm talking email list builders. Huge part of what I do is emailing. We'll talk about that too in a little bit. And then from the calendar mailer, we got that one, and then I got an extra one for the spring market. And from there, that is pretty much what I do for the marketing part. Okay, that's like the biggest ones. Now here's the part. Any questions on the mailers before I go into like the last segment of what I do? Let me go.
What are some of the fun like test ones that you've done in August?
I really let's see. Let me walk you through that catalog. And then you can maybe see a couple of them.
While you're bringing that up, these are for your farm, correct? Do you do a separate one for your SOI on those same months, or?
So the SOI, they are getting everything that we do inside the business builder box. So I don't know if you can, I'll show that to you, but every month my sphere gets a postcard. Like that's how I stay in touch with my sphere.
Okay, and that's monthly.
That's monthly. That's what
Okay.
I do. Yes.
Cool. Thanks.
So I don't have to pick up the phone or, check in on them. I just have a postcard go out and that's it. And then obviously the event invites.
Janine, actually, to piggyback off that, because I also do a business builder box, but do you ever send them like a market update as far as, a specific area you work or Illinois or even like a end of year business review of like all the stuff you've sold?
Not market update wise. My past clients really don't care about the millions of real estate. What we do is obviously the home anniversary for their past clients, right? And then that is typically enough grounds where we're like, okay, here's, what happened in your neighborhood the last 12 months. By the way, happy home anniversary, right? But it's all personalized to them because they really don't care. If I sell their house 10 miles away, they don't care what's happening in my market. But they do get it for their home anniversary. So, all right. Back to this one. This is GeoCentral. I know I talked a whole bunch about it, but what we added was the mailer clinic catalogs for all the users. And then we do have our mailer catalog. We're currently, I think, revising some of the last couple of the templates on it. But when you click on it, what it opens up is a Canva view link, and you can kind of like a catalog, leaf through it. And there's a lot in there. So personally, I'm the most impatient person. And rather than leafing through one by one, I go into a grid view. Just makes it a whole lot easier. And then from there, we look at, okay, like what are there's a ton of mailers in there, right? Some of the ones that we've tested that did really well. Cash offer, this one done pretty well. That's the one that you hear about inside the mailer boot camp. Let's see.
We're still seeing your grid, your calendar grid, FYI.
Oh, well, thank you. I am glad nobody else said anything. Okay, let me go back. Let's see. Let me hop over to Facebook. Make sure we're okay. Cool. So that one is GeoCentral. Inside GeoCentral, we got the mailer clinic catalogs on there. So I clicked that, which got me to this one right here. So the mailer catalogs. That's the one that I just clicked on, and then it opens up. Actually, let me just click on it again. Thanks, Danielle. Yeah, so that opens up a view only Canva link where you can like leaf through it. So everybody can see that now, right? Perfect.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. so you can leaf through those one by one. I just happen to be an impatient person, like I said, so I use that grid view, 3 dots, open the grid view, and then it'll pull up everything in a much easier to digest way. All right, so one of the ones I just showed you was this one. Nope, not that one. This one right here. Okay, so this one is been doing really well. Tested that one out. That's the one I talk about inside the mailer bootcamp, from mailer to listing in a matter of 5 days. Super amazing person. On the seller part, let's see what other ones we've done. Some
So
of
Janine, just to provide some context, how do you utilize that cash one also within your farm? Like you kind of use it as one of your test ones?
yeah, I mean, you know, if I want to test something, we'll see, hey, how is the response to that one? They go out EDM, so it's for everybody in most cases.
Do you do them like a particular time of year? Not the, I mean, you just shared, I know your layout of when you do all the other like mailers. Do you do it like in August or some other off month?
Yeah, so if I look at testing one, I oftentimes look at testing that in between, you know, the August, September one. So if I do a test one, and again, remember, I test a lot because of the clinic, not because of my own real estate business. This one here, I haven't sent yet. This one is a great one that I'm actually looking to test. We created that one inside the boot camp a couple of boot camps back, like 2 or 3 boot camps ago. I really like this one, so I'm excited to test this one. I've done this one. We've gotten seller leads out of this wanted poster. I haven't done that one for the entire farm. I've done this one to find a property for my buyers. But then again, like I said, I mean, there's so many. Let me see, there was another one I was going to show you. This one here, the QR code. I've sent this one. And since we've sent it, I'm looking to resend it, but this time within GeoCentral. When I send it, I sent this one with a typical QR code that you would find, you know, like you can create in Canva or whatnot. And since we started GeoCentral, I'm going to show you, I recorded a video on it yesterday. Just got to find it. Essentially, it talks about smart QR codes. Let me find. Sorry, I have a lot of windows open at this point. So I'm looking forward to testing that one again. But this time with a smart QR code. Let's see, everybody can see that one? Yes, okay, let me play it. I want to show you what happens with a smart QR code, okay? So I just got this postcard here that you see is like personalized, and it has a smart QR code on the back. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna scan it, and you're gonna see on my phone what happens. So turn it around, let me find the camera button. Okay, so this one here is my phone, and then this one here is my husband's phone. So we're gonna go ahead and get this one up. So there you go. All I did was scan my QR code. And right there, I just got a message that said so-and-so scanned the QR code. Kind of wild, right? Okay, so that's why I want to retest it, because if I look at just a lead notification from a scan itself, I feel like there's so much more, like there was no form filled out. There was nothing that was done. It was literally just somebody who pointed their phone and followed the link. So smart QR code. So that is definitely one of the ones that I'd be like, oh my gosh, I think I want to test that one out again, personally, because it's just this like little tweak. It's that little 1% difference, right?
Janine, how would you follow that up? So let's say some random person, you get a notification, they scanned your thing. I know that you're going to end up putting them in your database and on the drip campaigns and everything, but what would your initial contact be or say to them?
I mean, if somebody scans a QR code, clearly talking about a home value, sell a lead, right? So Tanya, you got thoughts on that one?
You're muted, Tanya.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Shauna. If you're doing the smart QR code, meaning you're not sending it EDDM, right? You have to send it to the actual address and pay
Yeah.
for postage,
Yeah.
the full price
This
postage.
one, well, GeoCentral prints free, so you do have postage, yes.
Well, I'm just looking at the cost compared to EDDM. If we pick a route and we send it to like our whole farm of 2,500, or yours that I know is way bigger, but let's just say I send it to my whole farm of 2,500. And I don't know that, well, anyway, that's what I'm trying to compare, sending it EDDM and not
Okay.
having the smart QR code, but then I wouldn't get notified versus this. And I know then you're going to go into the cost calculator. I know that's what you're going to do.
You know me so well, so it's all a matter of knowing our numbers. So one of the things that again we put inside GeoCentral is the calculators. And one of the calculators is, the question Tanya has is like, what makes sense if I do it? EDDM versus targeted. So one of the ones we have here is our mailing cost calculator, and it will tell you what makes sense for you to send. How, but we should do a different one on the mailing cost calculator, because you got to figure out what makes sense, right? What is the most cost-effective way? I'm all for stretching $1, but I think most people on here know that about me. That I'm a big fan on getting the most bang for my buck in so many words.
Ginny,
So-
my guess is that for the sphere of influence ones from the business builder box, we're doing these as well, the dynamic ones.
Those are all dynamic ones, yes.
Yeah, that excites me because from those, it's compliments that I get in person. Like, I love your postcards, but there's no other like follow-up. So I'm really looking forward to having them scan it and just get notified that, oh, someone from my sphere actually is scanning this.
Yeah, we use those on our business builder walks ones. So again, it's just good to know. But yeah, so those are a couple ones, and many of them came actually out of the boot camp. Many of these mailers that we test. And let's see, I think other than that, for the mailing, just bringing it back to our whiteboard. Let me find it. So again, that's laying it out on that one, okay? There's one other thing. So if you're all good with this, we'll move on to the very last thing. And that's what I'm gonna be, sharing a whole lot more publicly. I do these things sometimes, and I do a lot of things subconsciously. So over the last couple of months, I've been trying to really pay attention to the things I do. So let's start with just solds. Okay, let me actually stop the share here. These here, I do not count them as part of my marketing plan. Okay, just listed mailers, just sold mailers. These are not part of what I really consider my marketing plan, because they are the result of my actions. The reason I just listed something is not because this was part of my plan. What if you don't list something? Okay, so these are what we call micro campaigns. And inside your farm, having a micro campaign means that you're going to be using, certain filters to filter out, okay, maybe I don't want to talk to everybody inside my farm. Maybe I want to talk to only a certain segment. And on average, I do about 1 to 2 micro campaigns a month on average. Now, if it's a super busy month and I end up sending 5 just listed or just sold out, icing on the cake, the way I see it. Okay. Oh, before I forget, the question was, when do I send the mailers out? So for Cynthia, the mailers, I don't have a date. I'm trying to get them done before the month is over, right? Things happen. Sometimes you have to change things up. Would I love to get everything set and done on a specific date? Sure. Do I try to get most of these things scheduled out and taken care of by like the 10th? Yes. Is there a specific date? Not really. Okay, so obviously if I have a seller calling saying like, hey, we want a listing appointment, like I'm going on a listing appointment today at 2. I can't say I'm gonna do the mailer because I'm gonna be here. I just know it needs to get done. And my to-do list is kind of like rolling. So I just cross out the things that I get done and the ones I don't get done, they're on my to-do list for tomorrow. And when I start seeing one of the things I need to get done, like this is important for me to build my business, it's gonna get a star eventually. And I just need to really say, Janine, you need to sit your butt down and you need to just do it. Again, we all struggle with the same stuff, right? It's like trying to get it all done. And that sometimes means that my laundry doesn't get done. So for those of you thinking, okay, I can't get it all done, I can't get it all done either. Sometimes there's something that is just not getting done, and most often it's my dishes and my laundry. So, all right. So
Nina, quick question since we are on a mailer topic. So as the year started, what I never done well, I did actually a couple of mailers after I joined your clinic. But as the year started, which mailer should I do the first? Should I send out calendars to everybody or a kind of a market update for Q4?
I personally like the market update. Do you have events on your calendar yet?
No, that's why I've been asking about your events.
Yeah, I'll point you on all the directions on there. But again, like a signature event at scale helps to convert. Okay, and I'll break it down. Actually, you know what? That might be a perfect segue into breaking down all the things right now. So let's see. We're going back to the whiteboard. Not eraser. Anybody know how to get a new one? What if I press the X? Oh, just made my bar go away. That's not good. All right, try again. I'm not good on a Zoom whiteboard. Anybody know how whiteboards work? Oh, there's my navigation bar. Okay, got it back. What's this one? Oh, there you go. That wasn't so bad. Yeah. So the mailer clinic itself or anything I do inside my farm is really like set up on a really simple system. Enjoy that one. Crooked drawings. All right. Anybody recognize this one? Looks like a funnel. Yes. Everybody tired of hearing funnels yet? Sales funnels, whatever it is, right? But everything that I do is based on doing it at scale. So events. The reason I love events is because it allows me to meet as many people in person as possible at scale. Make sense? The reason I love building my email list is first up, I don't own Facebook, and I'm a big believer in you have a business, okay? You own your own business, you need to have an email list. As a business owner, this is literally your bread and butter. I don't know how to make it bigger. And then the other part here, we coined the term envelopes, but that's obviously your postcards, letters, flyers, door hangers, anything print marketing really, okay? Up, supposed to be a comma. And that's really the system that I personally follow. Everything on the mail part, that is what gets people to raise their hand. This is what people are seeing, be like, oh yeah, you know what? We should talk about it. We should think about this, okay? Oh, colors. Okay, try again. In so many words, in my farm, remember, people don't know me, but in my farm, this is where people get to know me, okay? My email is where people get to like me. if you don't like my emails, and many of you are here and you're either liking my emails or you are liking something, because I can tell you that when people don't like emails or don't like something about a person, you unsubscribe. Okay, so email is for me a tool where I can, and I write all of my emails. So if you get an email, I sat down, I wrote it, and I do want to communicate with you via email. But I do it at scale. I do the same thing I did in my real estate business, I do inside the hyperlocal agent. Okay, so email is really where you can decide, is this somebody I want to even listen to? Is this somebody that I even like, right? And then from there, it goes to events. And the events are the point where you can then find the trust. Okay, so in my geographic farm, I use these events to build trust because I'm a real person, a real face. Okay, in the world of AI, being real goes an extra long way. Okay, so, and that is really what makes all of this up in a super simple way. Get to know me, get to like me, get to trust me. And my marketing plan is built the same way, just kind of backwards. So the only thing we didn't really talk about yet on the marketing one was the fact that I do email my entire list once a week. I send an email once a week that talks about, nothing real estate related. Most often personal life updates. I can show you the very first email I sent in 2024. Let's see, let me stop the share. And let me find my email. How many of you have sent an email to people this year? Scrolling, sorry, looking. Trying to find my own email in my email. Isn't that sad? No, it was on Monday. There you go. Found it. Okay, so this one here was my first email to my real estate what do you call it? List, email list. Okay, new year, new you. Well, I'm going to stick to some of the old habits this year. Okay, everybody's like, new habits, new this, new that. I'm like, all right. I always went against the grain on a lot of things. So, and it's just, didn't have really a lot to do with real estate in itself. I mean, take a screenshot, feel free to take a screenshot of who you are, right? And then let me know what you get. And then this here is where it goes into the whole real estate part of it. By the way, if you want to get started on instant home value, okay, it's kind of like a PS, and then just signature. Okay, so that was my first email I sent out. All right, let's go back to the whiteboard. So email, got that one, okay? And then calendar right here. Let me actually add the email on here so it's all one email per week. Just so it's all in like one. But does that make sense for everything? And then we'll just go into the micro campaigns last. I know we're running a little over today. Sorry, guys. Good questions, though. Okay. All right. So last thing is micro campaigns. And for micro campaigns, it's something that I think I really haven't paid too much attention to, and like why I do the things I do. But these here are micro campaigns because they don't go to everybody, right? They go to a specific segment of the market that I'm farming. So example, this one here goes to the nearest 200 people around my listing that's sold, right? So it's a micro campaign. Over the last couple of weeks, we've done a couple other ones. So the letter to Santa, I didn't do a mailer. Okay, let me stop the share. I didn't do a mailer. Instead, I did a micro campaign. So I re-invited everybody that participated the year before, right? And sent them a micro campaign. We've done this one. This one here, maybe you've seen my Facebook ad on it. This one here is a micro campaign. It went to one specific street. One specific street where I happen to have sold 6 houses. So I took everybody on that street, and that is one of the trainings that we got. So if you want to watch it, by all means, let me know. But this one here was one street. I think it was like 74 people that lived on that street, and we sent them this letter as a micro campaign, right? We got 2 people actually wondering, hey, how much is my home worth? So got 2 more sour leads out of this one. I just got this one yesterday. That's a flyer, for example. Okay. Open houses. If you're inviting people to an open house, are you going to invite your entire farm? Probably not. You're going to invite a specific segment of people. If you look at segments of markets, these are then the micro campaigns that I've been talking about that you can use that smart QR code for, right? Send a micro campaign, and based on those micro campaigns, what are the results? Feed people into your pipeline and start nurturing them. So overarching, we have EDDM on the whiteboard. I don't know why, but I'm like in drawing mood today. Okay, talked about that. Let's get a new one. So overarching, you invite everybody from your SOI and your farm to events. Right. To events. Okay. Combining these things, like I said, it just helps you free up some of your own time again. It goes hand in hand. Okay. Even if they don't come, you made the effort to invite them. And the reason that this is just one of these super important things, I don't know how many of you guys have kids, but if you think about it, ever had a kid not get invited to a birthday party? Or you ever talked to a friend whose kid didn't get invited to a birthday party? How does it make people feel? People don't feel very good if they don't get invited. People love to get invited, even if they don't go. It makes them feel good. So that's where, craziness starts. Next up, we got the EDDM. Actually, mailers were blue, so let's stick with blue. That's not blue. Not sure how to go back. Oh, well.
Jeanine, through this Geo Central, is it possible to utilize for EDDM all these free printed cards?
Nope. It's all targeted. So either everybody, if you have a farm, again, depending on your size, EDDM is not necessarily the most affordable if your farms are fairly small. Again, if you get a couple quotes, you look and see what the printing will be. Oftentimes, when you print under 600 pieces, your cost ends up being 40+ cents to print a postcard. Plus the cost of EDDM at 20 cents, you're at 60-some cents. So again, know your numbers. That is all what it comes back down to. Use the calculator, run your numbers, and then decide if EDDM, is going to run you 60 cents, would it make more sense to just pull a list for a farm when it's smaller, okay? When it's smaller. Once you get into like higher numbers, it makes sense to connect with a local printer, which will help you and do all of that. But Always coming back to what are the numbers? And again, I shop around a lot, like I said, stretching the dollar. But that is why, right? Knowing how to, and that's why I still mail, because most people stop mailing because they're like, it's too expensive. It's like, yeah, because you stopped looking. I still interview with brokerages because, you know, you never know. You continue to compare and level up. And this is how my current stack came together. I always kept going and looking and seeing what else is out there on a lot of these things. And now I just ended up compiling some of the most affordable things. So EDDM, it depends on the size of your farm.
Okay.
And then the last thing we've got here, and use the calculator. Like I said, I mean, if you have your quote, plug in the numbers in the calculator and see where it, you know, makes sense. All right, and then last thing here are your micro farms. Those are just little dots, by the way. Terrible little dots, but. And those micro farms, you can then decide, okay, who do I want to target? Do I want to target only people that are currently renting? Do I want to target only people that are absentee owners? Do I want to target only for sale by owners in my farm? Do I want to target only people who have lived in their house for more than 15 years? Do I want to target only people with a 4-bedroom? Do I want to target people that only have a ranch home? I think you get the point of you have a lot of possibilities to target micro farms. And with that, you also have the ability to talk to them in a more specific way. Okay. If I own a 4-bedroom, 2-story colonial, and I've owned it for 20 years, do you think that one of the pain points might become an empty house, stairs, continuing to maintenance, making sure the lawn is done? All of these are pain points that maybe somebody that lives in a townhome in your farm will not necessarily have. Maybe you have condos, maybe you have, you know, small little condos, for example. But having these micro farms allows you to really just talk more specifically to the people and what they are experiencing in there, okay? So micro farms then allows you to be more specific, and every time you are more specific on it, this is typically where more people will also convert. So we got that one, and then we'll do 1 to 2 micro campaigns, and that's kind of at a minimum. And for those of you asking, okay, what kind of micro campaigns do you have planned out? I don't plan them out typically. I probably should plan them out, but I don't. I'm a human, not a machine. But one of the things that we're going to start doing is inviting you guys to just come along on the journey of these micro campaigns, such as, you know, this one here, like the Just Sold mailer, or when we do, I mean, that's very seasonal here, but, you know, a letter to Santa, again, an open house, you know, an open house flyer, for example. So those are going to become the VIP days. So you start getting invitations to those, and those are really the micro campaigns. Okay, and that's it. That's kind of where I'm focusing on in 2024, to just make sure that, you know, I'm staying in front. With farming, you eliminate the follow-up because there's always going to be the next campaign you're doing. It just makes things so much easier.
Jenny, I have a quick clarifying question. So once you've chosen your farms, and I know at this point you have 2 of them, so you do your EDDM for those 8 mailers that you just chose on your calendar, and then you basically go micro campaign level on those 2 farms based on absentee owner or whatever the micro campaign is you're focusing on.
Yeah, so you do the micro campaigns within the farm, and that's inside GeoCentral that we've been using.
Question, Janine.
Okay.
The just listed, just sold. Would you spend the time and money if it's not in your farm, in your overall arching city, it's in the neighboring city, but you happen to do business there anyway?
The just listed for sure, because my
Yeah,
job
okay.
is to market,
Yeah.
right, the property for the seller. So yeah, the just listed 100%.
Okay.
The just sold, I've skipped them before. If it was just like, I've had friends of mine living in the city of Chicago, and it's just not my market. So
Well,
the
I
just,
happened to get this previous seller that we just closed in December from the postcard of the other listing I had on that same street in this little townhome area. So I think I should do it with your dynamic QR code is what I'm gonna
I
try to
love the
do.
dynamic QR codes. They're like literally the best thing.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's just for me personally, it's if it's something, I mean, the marketplace, yes, I love all things hyper local. If it's in a town over, I will still do business in there, right? I mean, I'll still drive my kid to daycare in a town. My office is located in a different town, so I mean, it's not that I'm only doing that there, but I would do the just sold there. If I have, again, that 30 miles away listing in the city, which by the way, the city is just very different. People don't really do lock boxes there. They meet people. And I personally know this is not how I want to run my business. Could I refer it out? Sure. But I only get 25% off that, money back. So I personally decide not to. I much rather would then spend my money and decide, okay, let me do a micro campaign actually in my farm, for something else. Because also when I send that one-off mailer, what's the follow-up? What do I do next, right? So. All right, let me double check the Facebook ones. But other than that, I know we're coming up on 90 minutes, which is longer than what we usually do, but I think it was just very much needed to get like a really detailed view in all the things that there are. So you're very welcome. I hope it was helpful. And I said for Mastermind members, the recording will post inside the Mastermind portal. So you can go back, you can reference it. If you are not a Mastermind member, and let me know. It is, a masterclass. We actually have a ton of really cool guests coming up on the Mastermind. A couple really big names as well. So stay tuned for that. And other than that, have a fabulous Thursday. Happy 2024. And thanks so much for being part of it.
And I'm just going to say, if you're not in Mastermind, you absolutely need to be. It's the best return on your investment you will do. And then you'll end up joining everything that Janine puts out there because she's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Janine, quick question.
So true.
We go. Do you send the card to like, I have a buyer, even though you don't have a buyer?
Do not lie about having a buyer. That's my general mentality about it. If you don't have a buyer, go talk to your entire brokerage office, find somebody and said, hey, we happen to know about a buyer. Don't lie about having a buyer ever, is my mentality on it. So
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Awesome. We're rendering the recording and bye everybody.